Our contestants, will introduce them to you. Mr. Chan Gainer will be our first contestant that we'll introduce. Here he comes. Dusty Bozeman.
Yeah.
Clay Gregory. Bobby Sloan. Gatlin Duncan. And Taylor Coon. Now that I've got all my contestants coming into the arena, I'm just going to ask, who drew bucks? Which one of you drew bucks? You did? Okay. That's Mr. Taylor. I'm anxious to see what happens today. Buck's feeling real good. We've got some very distinguished judges with us, and we want to thank Mr. Joe Walter, Jeff Williams, and Buster McClary. Could you please give them all three a good round of applause? Also, the judges of our Colts, J.A. Reins, J.M. Birdwell, Michael Hickman, David Williams, and Rocket J.M. Performance Horses. Now, I started talking about the auction on Saturday. It's going to be around, you can correct me if I'm wrong, 1 to 2 o'clock, something like that in there, in between there. All the proceeds raised from the auction of these colts will be split evenly between two great charities. One is the WRRR Foundation, Working Ranch Cowboys Association, and the other is the American Quarter Horse Foundation. So you got a shot at getting a great colt being started by some great trainers, and you got a shot at helping out some great foundations. Plus, you're part of history. It's the first ever Coolhorse Colt Challenge. So give our contestants a big round of applause, if you would, please. I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Chris Morrow and Ryan Rothschild from the veterinary care. We appreciate you guys.
Thanks to this guy right here. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you, sir. You have put this together and kind of took and ran with it, as Dick said. And guys, I've been doing announcing for 29 years, and you go somewhere and you've got 120 members on the committee, and 5 of them do all the work. Here, you've got the greatest committee I've ever had a chance to work with. They are supportive, they are helping, and cannot do enough. So we're ready to go. We'll start with our first 3. Well, there's 3 contestants. Mr. Drinks right standing right here in front of me has spent time studying these buildings. He's got to get them ready to go. Drinks, give us a drive here. Thoughts about the horses we've got in here.
Go find where you can back
Looking for this to be about the horse. So it's not a big hoopla show thing. It's all about the horse. Yeah, the good young folks ride them, and good start.
One other thing I might add is that when anywhere in the country you see somebody that was doing what they are doing here in this arena, they pay pretty heavy tickets to get their horse to work, or just sit and watch from the animals.
They would, and so it's going to make you take that through the year, and you can take it all home and every time. No, that is you got 3 colt starters, you got 3 best judges. Yeah, I don't think you can get better judges than what you got right here. So they've all been there, they've done that, and I don't think anybody knows what to do.
Yes, sir. Again, we could not live without sponsoring Coolhorse. Again, I'm telling you, I was so impressed when I went into the store Tuesday morning, and check them out if you haven't on. You guys are lucky to have them. And you can also, if you're not from Amarillo, you can order online and then also stock those. You know, I got to visit Bake for lunch the other day, and they have a very unique program that gets you set up. It's a low monthly fee. You get your heating and air check twice a year, your plumbing, electrical. They can do brand new construction and you can make sure everything's going right. And if something does happen to your cooling unit, and it's 110 degrees outside, and you're part of that monthly service plan, you go straight to the top. You don't have to wait hours and hours and hours for the service to get there and back on. So when you got another, just call Scott and they'll take good care of it. All right.
Speaking of Coolhorse, one of the sponsors tonight, there's going to be a meet and greet with the colt starters there from 5 to 7. So everybody's welcome to come and talk to them about that.
They are open till 8 o'clock and 10 hours, so they plan to be there and visit with horse trainers and also I want to keep my wife out there. I'm just saying that. Yes, it's very safe. All right, down on the far end, which would be the west end down there, we've got Hobby. He's working to get things situated. In the middle, we've got Dusty Burton. And down on the far end with the little bus again, we've got Taylor Coach. Guys, if you've got any questions of these people, you can just hold up your hand. I'll come to you. We'll try to get to the right person and answer your questions. But this is for you guys, so don't be left.
Live up a buyer and go to school. I don't know where they are. Yeah, they love it. It's all one take, but it's so I was talking about skill that I come to look at. She'll do the same thing. They push them away and I push them to she'll do the same thing. As far as farming.
Do want to let everybody know also that the restrooms are located just outside of the east end here, and they have to be right by the Contestant stand, and they are open with laundry and decent drainage. So you can check out both of those restrooms down there on the east end as well as the Contestant stand.
It's not another
What you want more is short of individuals as a different technique. Kind of get to know me right here, right now. They want to get that horse comfortable with them. They want to be comfortable around that horse. Obviously, the first contact used to be that there's another horse down and you throw it down on it. What happens, they figure it out. Groundwork, kind of working with it a little bit. You learn a lot about the individual horse and the horse learns about you. Notice that none of them are horses with hard pressure on them. Just kind of let us get comfortable. Maybe down here with the bucket in. You kind of use the flag a little bit to work the horse around again. Dusty in the middle, working his off the back of the horse. And again, these individuals in this competition, they're not just competing here for prizes and stuff, they're actually applying for jobs with y'all. So you guys can decide which one it is just that for your herd, and if you think will work best with them, and get hired.
I think the best way to put it is it's all based off the road to the horse. We've just added some West Texas style to it. So this was all set up on the premises of, not a lot of hoopla and bells and whistles. This is how it would be done at your house, right there on the ranch. And so they've set the pins up and they're working them, and they will progress over the next couple of days, and then we'll have that auction. But I think you'll be amazed at just with 3 days on these colts what's going to happen.
They came to my place to kind of get me out, so there was a lot of time to do. So we just got to do it. Even just put it out. We just tried to get them to where send it back to
Works best for them. Kind of like having a farrier come to your place and you say, hey, I want you to come shoe my horses, and then you want to tell that farrier exactly what you want done. That's his job. These individuals out here all have a different way of dealing with each different animal. What you're seeing today, if you run a different colt in there, they may not do the same thing because they all have a unique personality just like we do.
Spirit. This is midnight. This was your heart. You named them all, didn't you? What the hell is it? Four? Awesome. You have fun, okay? Say yes, sir.
Say you can buy a burrito from me.
You remember me? Yes, we should be sending them out of town with his You like the blue?
Sometimes folks will come to a colt starting competition or something and think it's about who gets something done the fastest. But it's not about that. It's about how thorough are they, how much prepared do they get the colts. So it's not about speed, it's about thoroughness. These guys are all doing a good job.
You're going to notice down on this ECN Taylor, he has got the tarp out. Just he's in the center, using the flag a little bit, just kind of getting the buggers out of them. That's, you know, they have a tendency to spook at what we might think is the littlest thing, but to them it's a big old 50-foot monster. And if you notice that each one of these individuals out here working, they've introduced the horse to whatever they bring in, whether it be the halter and lead rope, the flag, the tarp. They introduce them to it. They don't just come out and start swinging it and yelling and hi-ya. And you don't hear any of them making a lot of noise. Again, that has to do with building the trust. Or the reason we're just in silence a lot of times is because the music and the fans and kind of new on these colts, and want to give everybody the same even playing field. One thing about it, you're seeing Dusty there in the middle, got the saddle on the horse, and the competition is not about how far or how fast you get done, because they're all about in the same place. It just looks different on everybody. And it's up to the individual that's working with these colts. How far they kind of have a feel for them now and know what they're going to be able to do. Yeah, not a race. They've got all the time they can to work with them, but they'll come back this afternoon and do it again. So it's, like we said, it's not a race in any way, shape, or form. And they've all got ways that, like, you see Taylor work that buckskin with the cart, and now he's got that lead rope underneath the belly, kind of getting used to ready for the cinch and how that might feel, put a little pressure on. Dusty's back up on horseback and put the saddle on this one, and they're kind of run it around a little bit and work it just to get her a feel for the saddle and listen to the things that kind of are moving around on it. Out. Okay, we'll hold up for a second. See, that's why you just put the saddle on one right away. You don't want to get on it. The other thing about it, when you've got three individuals around here working like this, when one colt does something like that, it kind of gives the other horses ideas or might spook them. And like the old saying goes, once one gets not worried about getting loose, it's worried about getting caught. Now, she's already developed trust because she came up to Steve right there and Steve was able to touch her. This colt knows Dusty's horse that he's on, which is a big help. And Dusty's already roped her off of that same horse. Vic, you're going to need a new panel. I believe Steve was stopping the clock, correct? We did stop the clock, is that correct?
I'm fixing to find out.
Okay, all right. We're fixing to find out. They are going to bring another panel in, Dusty, just so you know.
I got David while right outside the door.
They got one. They've got one over here, sir, unless you want to just leave that out as an extra. You're exactly right. We might need it. How many of y'all are glad he wasn't on that horse when he cleared that panel? How many of y'all wish he was? You and I can be friends, those kind of people. I'm kidding. Take that panel out back and lay it down and run over it with the tractor to be good as new.
You laugh at this, and you know we do it, don't you?
His mother was very happy with him.
Dustin's mom was very glad he was not on that horse.
It's a Thursday without a little Yeah, great. Yeah, so we'll put the time back on the clock for them, and there you go.
Taylor down here now is getting the horse accustomed to the saddle pad. Dusty kind of jipping one around just a little bit, kind of loosen her up. I got a feeling she's pretty loose. If any of you are in the English working, you might consider that one in the middle because she would have cleared that panel if she hadn't been bucking. I'll be working on getting the halter on. And again, it's up to each individual how you do that. There is no set of rules they have to follow. I mean, there are, but it doesn't say you've got to do a certain thing in a certain amount of time. Like I said, we're not on a race. It is all about working the colt and getting it ready. And again, each individual just as different as the colt is they're working.
Make it realistic. I'm sorry out there. Good, how are you?
Okay, they're kind of getting the buckskin ready for the saddle. You notice he doesn't just walk in and throw that saddle up there, kind of. When we came back after our horse escaped there in the middle, they did stop the clock. We started back with 25 minutes left of their first hour. Each one of these colts may respond the same way, may respond different to the saddle. And again, the individuals that are working them know where they're at and where they're ready for. We can't emphasize the fact enough that it is not a race. It's all about getting that colt ready to ride. And they've got about 2 hours a day that they get to work with them. Ready to ride safely, yes.
They mentioned that they did. Not the class after.
just like we are. Dusty putting a little weight in the stirrup. You'll notice he kind of keeps that horse's head pulled around where the horse can keep an eye on him, and it also helps him with keeping that horse right there in that tight circle. And what he's focusing on is making the horse present the hindquarters, giving it to him. Besides just bragging rights on who did the best out here this weekend, there are 2 awards that they are going to be awarded, and that will be an award for horsemanship and an award for the obstacle course. So they're getting points from our judges on everything that they're doing and how well that they're getting along with their each respective colt. Again, we would not be here if it wasn't for the folks at Coolhorse. We could not do it without you guys. Appreciate everything. And like I said, if you need anything, and I mean anything, even a vehicle to drive, they've got them. But you can go by there and check them out at coolhorse.com. They'll take great care of you. They got their own leather shop, their own silversmith. So see here, get with them over there. They can service trailers. It doesn't matter if it's a horse trailer or a little bitty old lawnmower trailer. We'll take care of them. Also want to say to Contestant, thank you. They sponsored our judges, helped out with them, and we appreciate Scotco very much. What Taylor's doing there is he leans over in that saddle, is getting that horse to be able to look at him out of both eyes. He'll lean over and take it away from the left eye to the right eye. Feeling the weight, but getting that trust. It's all about building trust. It's not about high on and whipping on them or anything like that. It's about trust. And again, Taylor getting her kind of bend around there a little bit. Presenting the hindquarters, we want to see that. And again, these colts are very, as you can tell by looking at them, very athletic. If you've had the chance to read the pedigrees on them, and they're not sure. I mean, they just don't know really what to do. They know that when they don't have a saddle on them and they're out in the pasture, they can run, they can buck, they can walk, whatever. But they don't know exactly what each one of these individuals is asking of them. So it's a teaching and learning process. And these horses have to trust the individuals as much as the individuals have to trust that horse. So now he's on that other side, kind of working. And even though they do kind of get out there and kick it up in a run or a pasture or whatever, they still don't know about bending and giving and presenting. So that's what they're teaching them here now, is getting them to kind of loosen up just a little bit. We saw Dusty's horse get real loose as I went over that panel.
Yeah, I think so.
Good seeing you.
No. They haven't started on the road in the room yet. They got their orchards in that meadow. They got a Uno. Got a Uno. The same papa as that.
I was just told that our contestants were given the 15-minute mark. We've got 15 minutes left. And again, back to the eye situation of leaning over the saddles and getting them accustomed to that is, you know, their eyes are kind of placed in a different than we are. And you don't want to spook them. And I mean, you come up out of a leaning out there to the offside eye and they're not expecting it. They are going to spook. I mean, a horse's natural instinct is to fight. You know, they will fight if they have to, but it's born into them to just take off and run. And so it's getting past all of these things that each individual does different and how they handle it, and each horse handles it differently. Taylor's sitting in the saddle. Dusty's pulled the saddle off of his and kind of rubbing her down with that lead rope a little bit, just getting her used to different feels and sights and sounds. And if you know anything at all about the horses, you know, everybody, we've been on it for years, the right side, the right side. You've got a great horse, you can get on that horse from either side. And if you're out in the pasture and you get in the bind, you better be thankful you can get on either side.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably. I think that's good.
You see Taylor, he's not jerking on that head at all. He's just kind of leaning it, putting that hand out there where that colt can see it, and just ever so gently pulling it around. Exactly. Steve just said it's not like a bullfight. You don't just jump out there and say, oh, lay. You kind of got to work with them and build that trust. And I guarantee you that once you build the trust with them, it's going to be a lifelong trust.
I don't know how long you are. Yeah, that's so.
We do appreciate you guys being quiet, but we'll give you an opportunity to give these first three individuals in just a few minutes a big round of applause and let them know you appreciate them.
I don't know if they're long enough to make it really hard for
Got about 10 minutes left. Now, each of our 6 contestants get 2 sessions a day. So after we get our second group in here in just a little bit, they'll work their hour, and then we'll take a little short break for lunch and then come back with the afternoon session.
Okay.
Little buckskin kind of, at first, thought, okay, I'm going to fight it, but then she remembered that he hadn't done anything to hurt her, he hadn't done anything to make her fear him, so she went ahead and gave her head and went around that corner with him the way he wanted to. Brent just said that this buckskin colt has done what most starters want them to do, and that is walk out. No, I mean, you can see right now, just a halter on a colt. Everything is moving freely on the horse. Taylor, I assume, Taylor, you're comfortable? But again, he's got that hand up high where that horse can see that right outside of that left eye. And that gives that horse a little bit of confidence knowing, okay, there it is, nothing's going to spook me. Now he switches sides, he's going to take her back the other way. Be on the right side. And not all times, but sometimes a horse will just naturally work better one way or the other. Ideal situation is to get what you're seeing right here, work it both ways. And again, a little hesitant, but she has that trust and it's building.
You try to call me, Gar? Oh, yeah? Oh, you dang right. It's got a 3-inch foot sucker on it. Let me see. I think it's got the male end up there. Yeah, there's always that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it all just switch right up.
Each one of these individuals are taking these animals to a better place than where they started at. And like I said, they're as different as you and I are. And each different colt has a different personality. And they are doing what they got with the animal that they drew, and it was not they got to pick who they wanted or what they wanted or saw a pedigree and went on to that. It was by the luck of the draw.
But it's got a, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I know for sure, it's got a male end on the end of that hose, a 3-inch piece.
5 minutes, 5 minutes.
Sounds good. I don't see that.
'Cause
he's down there, and she's trying to get that horse just to bend a little bit and build that trust even more. This colt's not quite sure if she wants to trust her or not, but she's trying. You'll notice what she's doing here is again showing that colt the trust issue. She'll walk to the back to move it forward, and then when she steps towards that head again, she wants that animal to stop. And she is working on it, getting her a lot more trust than what she had when they got started. Another one of the perks of being here and competing is the Jim Wright Memorial Award. And anybody that ever met Jim knew that he was a great man, original inspector for the AQHA. And so that's going to be a big honor to be able to win that award, and one of our individuals here in the Coolhorse Challenge will be the recipient of that award. Member of the Reins Riders. Not just bragging rights, that is a lot to get that Jim Wright Memorial. Guys, now would be a good time to let Dusty Burson, Taylor Coon, and Abby Shalom hear you right now. Thank you very much. You guys did a great job.
Some of them are going to be pretty easy, but that is one more is probably three. It might be kind of hard.